Hi, everyone. Welcome. Hi, guys. I'll give everyone just like another minute. Hi, nice to see. Hi, Cassie. Oh my God. My college bestie. What's going on, everyone? Hello. Great to see so many faces. All right, I'm going to kick us off and get us started. Welcome, everyone. If you don't know me, I'm Liz Manella, and this is Connect Forward's first ever micro influencer training. I'm very excited. If you're not familiar with Connect Forward yet, you will be after this, hopefully. It is both a 501c4 organization and a super PAC that we started following our loss in November. We were down bad. And in those days following the election, besides eating a lot of breakfast food in bed, it seemed like Democrats finally agreed on something. We were all for once on the same page, which is that we agreed that we lost this online messaging war. We kind of showed up to the wrong battlefield to win voters. And we had not, as Democrats, invested in an infrastructure for liberal voices in new media. And as you all are probably very aware, since I'm probably preaching to the choir on this, the right has invested heavily in that. So I'll take you back a little bit. I started fundraising for the Biden campaign, first Biden campaign, in the summer of 2023. And what for that entire year and a half, basically, it felt like I was shouting from the rooftops that the right was using organizations like Turning Point, and they were building the manosphere, and they were brainwashing trad wives, and we weren't doing enough to counter program it. And in the days following the election, instead of saying, I told you so, well, I probably did say that a lot, or continuing to complain about it, I decided we needed to just start building it and doing it, brick by brick, Zoom by Zoom. And I think one of the most important parts of building that infrastructure and this ecosystem is consistently bringing in new voices and adding to the number of people talking about progressive politics online and also in real life. So before I go any further into kind of my story and my quick tips for you, and then we'll get to our speakers, we want to get a little bit of information from all of you. So I know we have some of this information from you already, but if you wouldn't mind for like our data purposes, you might have to double it up for us. So we're dropping a form in the chat that we would love for everybody to fill out right now. There will also be a prize drawn from that form. So definitely fill it out right now. So we want your name, your email, your handle, which you've already given us, but then we're also going to ask you for your city and state. This is for a couple of reasons. One, we want to start pairing you up with influencers in your area. So we're going to try to do this through Instagram group chats. And if that's not your thing, just let us know, or you can also just like leave the chat once we put you in it. But I find them so helpful. Creator chats for me have been an incredible way to learn and ask for advice, do collabs, support each other. All of the ones that I've been in have helped me grow so much. And they're also just like a nice kind of therapy session sometimes, because people doing the same thing that you are. It's a good way to support each other. So it's also that we can pair you with elected officials or organizations from your area that are looking to make content with local influencers. For instance, we had a meeting last week, with Delia Ramirez. She is a congresswoman out in the western suburbs of Illinois. She's looking for people in her district, influencers, content creators, people to make content with. So we would love to be able, when an elected official comes to us as like a hub, to be able to say, here's who's in your area, or groups or people that want to give resources or opportunities. We just want to have a way to know where you are and be able to put you out there. We're also going to ask for your follower count, like an estimation. You could pick whatever platform you're biggest on, so that we can track your growth as you come to a series of micro influencer trainings, and we've paired you up with a network of influencers. We can see how everybody has grown. So I'll give everyone a second to finish that. I'll just be quiet for like 10 seconds so everyone can click on that and finish it. Does that work? I'll plug in my computer so it doesn't die. Okay. Okay. So as you're all finishing that, these trainings are always going to be free and open to anyone. The goal of tonight is to grow our progressive ecosystem, but because I'm always a fundraiser at heart, if you want to support the work of Connect Forward or you know someone who might, we're going to throw the link in the chat. You know, if somebody has been asking you this week, like, where do I donate my money? Like my mom asked me that today, where should I donate? I was like, Mom, I started an organization. You could donate to that. That would help. She's like, well, I want to do like somewhere where you'll get credit. I'm like, I would get credit. I'm a founder, so that would help. So we sent her the link. So if your mom has asked you that this week, you know, even $5, $10 helps us get closer to our goals. Okay, so the theme of tonight is whether you are a seasoned creator or you're just starting out, the theme is we are all Demfluencers. Every single person, everyone has the ability to use their influence to persuade voters to vote for Democrats. And sometimes I say I got my start in 2022 when I turned my account public, but I had been posting about politics since before Trump was elected the first time, which is exhausting to think about that we've been doing this fighting this man for over 10 years. It's really like, it's taken my youth. I know even in that time when I was just posting to my network, I know that had an impact on my friends and family. Did it, Cassie? She's been with me since I've been posting about this since I'm in college. There's a tremendous amount of value in messaging to the people who know you and who trust you. I think that is like your most prime audience. So even if you're coming to this and you're like, I can't be public for my job, or it's not my thing, I'm not sure, just on your own network, there's a tremendous amount of value in that. So then in the summer, for me, in the summer of 2022, I did turn my Instagram public, and I used it to rally people in my state to hold our elected officials accountable after there was a mass shooting at a parade near my hometown. And after 7 months of online advocacy, we passed an assault weapons ban in Illinois. And I really saw in that moment the power of social media, that it had real legislative power, and it was really changing the way how we were doing things in politics. Like everything is changing right now. Everything that happened online with Trump is changing the way elected officials think about reaching voters, how they think about messaging to voters, and how they think about making laws. We're really seeing like everything change, and we need to keep up with that, and we need to surpass them. So tonight, I hope that we fire you up and we also equip you with tangible takeaways, which is really important. A lot of times when I've done Zoom calls in the past or Women Wednesdays, people are like, I really want takeaways. So we're going to make them very clear. Each speaker at the end of their speech is going to give you like 3 quick tips. So you can write them down. So you're listening, but sometimes I think the human brain needs that like breakdown of like, this is the takeaway. So for my quick takeaways, I'm going to borrow 2 of mine. I think I might actually have 4, sorry. 2 of mine are going to be borrowed from Emily Amick. She was a guest on the first episode of our podcast, which is coming out tomorrow. It's called Demfluenced, and you will all be forced to receive it. I will send you it, even if you don't want it. I will send you, in our follow-up email, we'll send you a link to listen to it and download and like and subscribe. But a sneak peek of what she kind of said in some of her action items. We asked her what are action items. She said her number 1 thing was to start a book club, to start something that meets consistently with a group of friends or people in your area, that you can talk about politics, that you can support each other through this. And it's not the type of thing like, I have a best friend in my town, and it's like, it's so hard to get together. We're always like postponing it. It's this, that, the kid is sick. But when you have like a consistent, we meet every other Sunday at this time, I think it's like whoever's around can come. And if it's 2 people, if it's 20 people, having that consistency really helps bring people together, because building community is seriously the best defense against fascism. And I say that with all seriousness. So start a book club, you don't even have to read a book. It could be a podcast club. It could be a just let's talk about current events and how we feel club. The second takeaway that Emily gave us was that your member of Congress wants to make content with you. So if you are a mini micro influencer or a big influencer, your member of Congress is desperate to get on Instagram with you and make content with you. So reach out to them and ask them if they would like to do that. It's a great way for you to grow. It's a great way for you to have an exciting opportunity to interview somebody who's a Congress member. I should preface that by saying your Democratic Congress member wants to make content with you. And if you don't have one, perhaps there's a local official at the Democratic level that wants to make content with you. And if you don't have any Democrats in your state, we need you more than ever being a micro influencer. So we'll find other opportunities for you. And then my last two quick takeaways are face to camera, I think, is the most impactful way of communicating information. It feels like this. It feels like you're FaceTiming. It feels like you're talking to someone. When I made my reel following the Highland Park shooting, I did it face to camera on my porch with my real raw emotion, asking people to call their representatives, telling them how we could pass an assault weapons ban. And I think it felt like to people that someone was talking to them because someone was. And like, again, the human brain, that is what we connect with. That is what we resonate with. I know it can be scary. Mara's going to give us some tips on how to make that less scary. But it's truly, I think, the best way to gain traction and to get your audience feeling like they can trust you because they know who you are. You're a real face. And that kind of leads into my fourth and final takeaway, which is authenticity. If you believe what you're saying, others will too. And when you're thinking about what kind of content you want to make or how you're going to show up online, I think the thing that you feel strongest about, the thing that wakes you up at night or the thing throughout your day that pissed you off the most when you're scrolling the news, that's the thing to make content about. When you're making something that you think you should, or you saw other people do it, but it's not really resonating with you, you aren't going to have the same drive and like believability in your voice. So show up authentically and show up with your face if you can. If you can't, there are also ways to really be successful at this. Okay, so before we get into our first speaker, who I'm going to ask when you come on, Mara, I'm going to ask you to pick a number between 1 and Katina will tell me how many people we've had fill out that form. The winner, so this is your prize for filling out the form. The winner is going to receive a one-on-one coaching session with an influencer of your choice. Now, you might have to give us like top 3, but we can get them for you, whether we have to pay them or I have to give them my firstborn. We will get them for you. You get a one-on-one coaching session, ask them questions about how they grew or how they make content or whatever you want to ask them. We will make it happen for you. So, Katina, how many people do we have fill out that form?
We have about 66 that have filled it out,
Okay.
but I'm going to redrop it in the chat, let people fill it out, and then when Mara's done, we can maybe call the number.
Okay, great. Okay, so our first speaker is Mara Freedman. She is a social media strategist and the founder of Storied Media, which is the company dedicated to helping brands and individuals effectively tell their story through social media. Her clientele includes Marie Shriver, the Sunday Paper, Sweet Laurels, amongst many others. She is a co-founder of Connect Forward, and she's the mastermind behind our social media, which makes me laugh and cry for our future sometimes on a daily basis. So, Mara, thank you so much for joining us, and we're so excited to hear from you.
I'm thrilled to be here. And I love that you ended on authenticity because that is the key to everything I do. And I think the key to good social media, because if you are not being authentic, what is the point? And look, social media can be a really dark place, especially right now. But I truly believe that social media can be a force for good if you allow it and if you are actually being authentic with the way we use it. So that I will echo that forever, that authenticity is key. And one thing I always challenge my clients with is, why did you post this? Or why do you want to post this? So that is going to be like a big takeaway that I'm going to give you all. Keep asking yourself, why do I want to post this? Why? Is there a reason? What does this actually do for me? Or is it going to do for anyone else? Is it just a pretty picture? Does the pretty picture make you happy? That's great. Post the picture. But is it telling something greater to the world? Is it telling something greater about who you are, what you're doing, what you care about? Just always keep asking those questions. And I think you'll find that your social media actually has like a greater impact for everyone. But don't not post the pretty picture. If it actually makes you happy, we need that nowadays more than ever. So another thing that is so, so important that I think is such a small thing we forget about, so many people are sharing content that they don't actually go and then look at that account that they're sharing the content from. So case in point, that horrific video that Trump shared the other day. Does anyone know where that came from? That video of Trump Gaza? I mean, that to me looked like it was making fun of him. And he then shared it as if it was this holding him up as a god. I mean, it literally had so many things riddled throughout it. Him on a toilet at one point as a golden toilet. Um, it just was ridiculous. So I urge you all to always find out where something is made, who crafted it, what the actual messaging is from, where the yes, the AI team, you're exactly. That's exactly it. Um, so like find the source of it. And I understand that we're going to share things at times that are going to be for the sole purpose of this is ridiculous. I'm sharing it so you see it. Make that very, very explicit. But if you're sharing something without that call out, my feeling is sometimes you are sharing things that are endorsing certain publications. That's why people have like shares are not an endorsement. I know that's a very, very old thing that used to be up on Twitter, but sometimes shares are an endorsement. So make sure that you can stand behind what you're resharing. Um, so those are some like very, very, very simple things. To back up, the thing I think we've gotten a little lost in is what does my main thing have to be in social media and who am I and what is my mission? I think we all have to like take a step back and recognize that if you are a bread baker, and this is for some reason, this is the thing I keep going to. If you are a bread baker and that's what your Instagram account is about, be a bread baker, but let people meet you where you are and meet people where they are. Be the bread baker on Instagram, but find a way to talk about politics. I imagine that your wheat is going to get, more expensive. Your ingredients are going to get more expensive. That's a reason I use this example is I think it's very tangible. There's a way for that bread baker to be talking about, my wheat got more expensive this week. That's because of tariffs. Tariffs are so I urge you to find those simple ways that you can be bringing politics into what you're already doing, not feeling like you need to change what you're doing. You don't need to completely become a different person. You don't need to start a new account, but you can become the person that is who you are. Like you can be caring about the things that you care about, but bring them into your everyday life. If you talk about music all the time, put up quotes from musicians that have been politically active. There is a way to find your way into the political discourse in wherever you are, and I think that's going to lend yourself to the authenticity. Like that is going to make you feel more authentic rather than just all of a sudden be posting about what is happening in this insane world. And I think it's also going to make us feel more diverse in answering this question of how we can actually, to be really honest with the wording, to be infiltrating the many worlds that we need to be infiltrating. So, some other really, really tangible tips I want to give you all. So if we're talking about Instagram as a platform, there are new ways to be engaging, that Instagram gives us new features because they want us to use it. So don't just feel like I have to use Reels because Reels are the what does the best. If they have given us 20 photos, it's because they want us to be posting more carousels. If they have given us the ability to make Reels longer, it's because they want us to be making Reels longer. So make sure your content is diverse. Make sure you are changing up what you are doing. Don't just keep doing the same thing, and try things out. Change it up, make things different. Um, and if it doesn't work, try something new. Never feel like trying something is going to be a problem. The worst things that can happen are only a few people like it and you keep going. But the best part of having a community in this space is that we all are going to like your content and we're all going to be there to support you. And that's the best part about creating community in this type of world. So honestly, my best advice for you all is really find where your niche is. If you have some bread baking passion, whatever that may be, I'm gonna answer this question. Um, yes, I absolutely can talk about that. Um, so there's definitely not using certain phrases will help. Um, and not using certain terminology. But those are some definitely like they change every day. And they Yes, it's a really tough question to answer. And it's something that like you might not want to use the name of Elon Musk. You might not want to use the name of Mark Zuckerberg. You might not want to be using names. You might just want to be using code names. Really simple, dumb things like that actually do work. Um, but like in all honesty, have fun with it. The more you have fun, the more it actually might get around those algorithmic dips. And but the other thing that will get around some of those algorithmic dips is trying to do different types of content, not always doing a video and then making a video and then having the next thing be a reel, a carousel. Another thing that a lot of people don't actually realize too is that if you create a carousel and put music on top of that carousel, it might also get shown as a reel. So that's a way of diversifying your content, doing different things, but having it possibly get shown as a reel. So I offer that to you as what they want you to do basically is create reels and they want you to put music on top of it. Or not reels, I'm sorry. They want you to create carousels and put music on top of it. So that is another way to just try these tips and we'll be able to keep sending you these like fun tips to to see if they work, and that if you guys are having specific problems, you can also send them into us. Um, why did you get limited on comment? Why was that? Can you give us? Okay. Honestly, we'll never know on some of these things. The reality on a lot of this too is it's being run by AI. It's being run by who knows at this point. Um, and also, look, TikTok is anybody's guess at this point as well. There's a lot of insane stuff happening over there. Yeah, yeah. So to go back to it, meet people where they are, but also let people meet you where you are. Really, really big thing. Be authentic in what you're putting out there. That's going to resonate the most with people. Another thing I didn't quite get into, but don't worry so much about the likes and the reach. The reality is you have a circle of influence. I know that Liz said that, but what I mean by that is when you talk authentically, people will listen. Just like Liz said that she was on her porch talking to the camera. If you actually are comfortable and you are talking authentically, like I am talking to you right now, I hope you see that like I care about this. This means a lot to me. I'm not nervous. If you guys are actually meeting people out in the world and talking to them, they listen to you. Feel like you can actually do that on your phone, in your stories, making videos. You will, even if you reach one person, you've reached that one person. And let that be enough. I know the goal is to go viral, to have a lot of people share out your videos, but let yourself start small. Let yourself make something that impacts one person, changes their mind, and just start there. And when in doubt, ask a question.
I love it. Thank you, Mara. I totally agree with that. I feel like for the beginning when I was just starting out, like I try not to look at followers, likes, reshared. I think it just because then sometimes you get in your own head like, oh, that one got more likes and reshares. Should I do more of that? And like I think that interrupts your authenticity.
It really does. And it also, the reality of it is like, as much as we talk about an algorithm and blah, 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 like there is no real rational reason behind anything.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I talk to the people at Meta and other people who are viral influencers, they don't know either. And they don't
Yeah.
know why something has hit and something hasn't.
Yeah.
Like they could post something on a day when there's a big news day randomly about that topic, and that's why it goes.
Yeah. I will also say it does feel like things that generate more comments, like when people start. So I will say the thing that went viral for me the most that I ended up deleting was I reposted, oh my God, now I'm going to forget his name, our Speaker of the House before Johnson and Matt Gaetz. Can someone shout it out? Who is the
Kevin McCarthy?
Kevin McCarthy, thank you. How quickly we forget. He was like all we could talk about, and now he doesn't fucking matter.
Well, he's
It
from
was
California,
Kevin,
so he's
yeah.
our dumbass. So
Oh,
we got
sorry. He and Matt Gaetz were arguing on the Senate floor at some point. I cannot even remember
Yes.
when it was. He was like, you're a disgrace. And he was yelling back at him. And then I posted it just like, look at these stupid men, which is a piece of like a very strong part of my brand. Look at these stupid men. And it went so viral because men were fighting with each other in the comments. And I was literally like, I woke up, I posted it, I woke up and it had 500,000 views. And I was like, I'm not going to be the host of men fighting in my comments. I'm deleting this. So like, sometimes it's like random shit that you don't care about that I don't need to put that out there into the world. So like,
But
nothing makes any sense. And then something that I would work on for like 2 weeks, researching, recording, asking experts, would get like 5 views. What
but
are you
the other thing I will say is, you know, sometimes something will get a ton of comments, sometimes things will get a lot of shares.
gonna?
Look at those things, look how things are performing because, you know, a static asset getting a lot of shares and saves, that's really valuable. And if it
Yeah.
doesn't get a lot of comments, it's fine because someone has saved it and they're
Mhm.
potentially saving it to look back at.
Yeah.
With the video getting a lot of comments, that's excellent. But like different content should perform differently and take note of that.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you for all of your hard work. And everybody, please follow Connect Forward Pack. Mara is truly her most savage self on there, and I'm really here for it. Um, so great. Thank you so much for being here. Next, we have Kate Compton Barr. She is a dedicated advocate for democracy, and she is the founder of the Can't Win Victory Fund, which is an organization committed to challenging gerrymandering and promoting fair representation in American politics. In 2024, she ran my favorite campaign of the cycle, which was for North Carolina's 37th Senate District, a race that she acknowledged was unwinnable due to partisan gerrymandering. And her campaign aimed to highlight the detrimental effects of gerrymandering on the democratic process. And she aptly called it Kate Barr Can't Win. She was also incredibly successful at leveraging both new media and legacy media to spread awareness for this campaign. So please welcome Kate Barr.
Hi, she is also in a hotel room in a bathrobe.
So I love that for you.
I'm channeling authenticity from head to toe right now. Yeah, so like Liz said, I'm Kate Barr from Kate Barr Can't Win. My day job, at least for a little bit longer, is I'm a behavioral scientist at the University of Michigan, and I study persuasive communication. And so when the opportunity came to run for an unwinnable seat and run the way that I thought campaigns should be run, um, it was pretty great to be able to grab it and do it and not have anyone get in my way because it was unwinnable. So people just leave you alone. And I think we proved some things about how to communicate with voters. So the thing I was going to talk about first was authenticity, but obviously we've covered that. So check. And instead, I'm going to talk about attention. So the name of the game right now is attention. It's not policy. It's not big intellectual ideas. It's stunts. It's humor. It's quick hits. A little brain science for you. People's brains work at two speeds, fast and slow. And our slow brains take in information and they weigh pros and cons, and we make important life decisions like whether to buy that house or not using our slow brain. And most of the time, it's actually our fast brain processing peripherally, taking things in when we don't even realize it's happening. And that's the thing that is meant to save your life in evolution, because you're not trying to weigh the pros and cons about whether to leave the burning house. But what happens online is that a lot of the behavior we're seeing, especially on the right, they are leveraging our fast brains to like stick little messages back in there before we even know it's happened. And we need to get really good at that here. And that has to do with attention. It's bright colors, it's quippy rhyme things. It's about being unexpected. So saying something that people don't think you're supposed to say, like, I can't win. And basically just trying to capture eyeballs, but you have to do it authentically. If you just do it for the eyeballs, everyone can tell and they will move past you. It's like a special sauce. If you do a stunt, and we can talk about some examples of stunts that you might want to do. If you do a stunt, I also encourage you to send a press release to any news person you can get a hold of. Most news outlets have email addresses just on their websites because, guys, they have to make content all the time. So they are looking for things to publish, especially if there's a visual element. Like, for example, in North Carolina, we are going through this really horrendous, protracted state Supreme Court race. Justice Allison Riggs has won this seat like 87 different times at this point. And all of the stuff around that case is happening inside a courtroom, and that is not visual. There's no story that a newspaper or that some online journal can tell from inside a courtroom that is as effective as what we did, which was have people go stand in front of the state Supreme Court building and read the name of every voter who's being challenged. And those photos are still showing up in pieces that have nothing to do with the work that we did. If you give them a visual, they will use it over and over and over again, and you can grow your reach that way. So that's a bit about earned media. If you like thinking about stunts, some things that could be interesting right now, there's a lot of talk about empty chair town halls, and I think that's great. Like, for sure, if you do one of those, put out a press release about it. And if you don't know how to write a press release, this is why God made ChatGPT. Just like go to OpenAI and put in the details of your event and say, write a press release for me. And then modify it so it sounds a little bit like your voice. Oh, and there's a PR person here, even better. So if you're going to do an empty chair town hall, maybe you want to do a cardboard cutout instead. If you have a Republican representative, or say Marsha Blackburn, I saw show up in that chat, her real human self won't talk to you, but you can sure talk to a cutout of her and ask some hard questions. You can really try anything. You could have just like a board where you put up sticky notes with all of the random questions that come up throughout the day, just as you're listening to the news cycle, and you just go across that board with your camera at the end of each day, asking what seem like very simple questions. I mean, again, anything visual, especially if it uses a leader's face, will be helpful. And just don't be afraid to try shit. Honestly, like I swear all the time, my father is horrified by it. And sometimes I worry that the algorithm is going to turn me down because of it. But the stuff where I'm using curse words is actually more successful than the stuff where I'm not, which leads me to talking about virality. So we were just talking about that a little bit. We've had good luck going viral in a couple of different ways. And I just want to say, like, I only have, I don't know, 3,500 followers. This is not a big account, but we're able to have a big reach when we need it by deploying a few things. So one is humor. Everybody likes a funny thing. People share stuff in order to communicate something about their identity. So if you want to seem like a cool, hip person, you're more likely to share something that makes you seem like fun and funny. So if you make me something fun and funny, I will share that so the world knows I am fun and funny. So you want to make content that people would want to identify with. And that's back to authenticity. Your audience probably relates to you as a human. Like, you are more powerful as a micro influencer than any of these mega influencers, because you have credibility with your audience that they don't have. So trust your gut about what your audience wants to hear, because if you want to hear it, they probably want to hear it. There's also some ways to game the system. So you can coordinate phrases like across this group. If there's a particular day where you all decide you want to talk about something, if you use the same 4 words to talk about it, that will communicate to the algorithm that there's like a quantity effect happening, and it will be more likely to show more of your comment or more of your content to more people. The same is true for early, fast comments and shares in particular. So if you're going to post something that you feel really strongly about, again, activate this network and say, hey, can you go comment on this? Can you go like it? Can you go share it? It will also help the algorithm understand who the audience for that content should be. So it will be less likely to show it to the men who want to fight about it, and more likely to show it to audiences that match the folks who have liked it and commented early on. Yeah, I see the comments about swears. Yeah, don't swear in the written content. It picks up on that and won't show it, but you can curse a blue streak out of your own little mouth. So my content takeaways are: when you make content, make sure you know what you want people to take away from it. Like, you get one thing. You don't get 2 or 3 or 5, you get one. Make sure you know what the one thing is and that you have hit it in a way that you feel good about. Go download the teleprompter app. It's free in the App Store. It makes it a lot easier when you're first getting started to speak to camera. If you just have your notes up there, and it's like right at the top of your screen, and it scrolls right under that little green light, and people cannot tell that you're reading. Join Reddit. Reddit is like the last frontier for honest, engaged conversation. It's not being monitored and throttled the same way many of our other tools are, and we're seeing a lot of successful conversations there. So get on Reddit, and then I want you to write a press release. So, like, just practice doing it, and go find email addresses for a couple of local reporters and just reach out and say, hi, I'm doing stuff. And bonus points, have a party. I know we talked about a book club, and like book clubs are great, but I'm one of the people who never read the book and then I wouldn't go to the book club. And like, that's fine if that's who you are. Just have a party, play some music, like eat chips and dip, get together with people, try and be together in real life. And that will also help grow your online community.
That was awesome. Wait, can you say the third one? I was about to write it down and then the party distracted me.
I'm sorry, that's what happens to me too.
Yeah.
Write a press release. Go
Oh,
write
write
a
a press release.
press release and then
Okay.
introduce yourself to your local reporter.
I did not know about the teleprompter app. I've been memorizing my content
Oh my
for
God.
years. So we learn something new every day. Okay,
Yeah.
so that is fun. I hope that was as helpful to everyone else as it was to me. That was amazing, Kate. I think you're so right. We are in an attention economy, and something that will be echoing in my head is that cross section, like that perfect secret sauce between attention and authenticity. Because if you go too hard on the attention, people can see that it's fake. But if you're a little too earnest and you're not like out there enough, and you're just like every other person, like we're not going to stop the scroll. So something that's going to grab people. But I think everybody here has probably been the type of person who's been getting and thriving on attention since they were 5 years old, performing shows like on the hearth of the fireplace. Like there are a lot of theater kids here. So lean into that. I always like to quote like Ina Garten's memoir when she's like, what did you love to do as a kid? What lit you up? What did people tell you you were really good at? For a lot of us, it was making our parents sit through shows. So lean into that. Like
I was a big math nerd. It's okay if you weren't a theater kid and you found yourself.
yeah, that's
Just
true.
as a heads up.
Really? I would have thought you were a theater kid.
Oh, thanks so much. No, I was terrified for a very long time. Also, lean into the bloopers. Like, that's a great way to make authentic content. Like just show some of the ones where you totally screw it up. Like if you're baking bread and you blow flour into your face, that's the start of your video.
Totally. Oh my God. Like the Meghan Markle, has anybody seen the trailer for that? Like 100 times is where they're flipping the dumplings and it falls off. Like that is, I've literally seen that so many times. I almost feel like they did it on purpose, but then I watched the full thing and it looked kind of real. So yeah,
But nothing past Meghan. Sorry, Meghan.
Right. It's good enough for Megan. It's good enough for us. Well, thank you so much, Kate. I can't wait to work more with you. I know we are so aligned, and I'm just like really happy that we've found each other. There are a lot of ways that the mission of what we both want to do are very congruent, and we've been working together and sharing resources and ideas. And I think that that's just really emblematic of the fact that like more is more in this space. Like if somebody else has a way that they want to grow this ecosystem, do it, help, like throw it out there. We need all of the ideas and all of the energy and people who want to get things done. So get out there with your ideas and your special gifts. Okay, thank you so much. Can't wait to see you in a couple days. Okay, so finally, we have someone who I have been following on TikTok for so long. I've been watching her videos, specifically really resonated around the time at the beginning of the Harris campaign when we were really looking at white women showing up for this election and white women challenging the spaces that they exist in. She has just incredible social commentary. She's amazing and hilarious on TikTok. She is also a social media strategist, and she's a content creator, and she's known for using her platforms to engage her audience in these political and cultural discussions, particularly among us elder millennials. She has a background in marketing and public relations, and she has a huge TikTok following that she sometimes talks politics on, but also talks social trends and really translating these complex issues into digestible content and sparking conversation. And in 2023, she went very viral with an innovative storytelling approach and kind of like having her own reality show on TikTok. She also invented what did you call it, Pamela? It was like pretend cooking reality show. She'll say it with all the different like private chefs in the Hamptons. She can talk more about that. So she's also a feminist and advocate, And she blends her humor and her activism and her media literacy, empowering her audiences to stay informed and engaged in the political landscape. I am fangirling so hard. Welcome, Pamela. Thank you so much for coming.
I can't believe that all was about me. I thought you were talking about somebody else at first.
Oh, it's you.
I'm really excited to be here. I signed up for this because a fellow influencer who lives near me, Jessica Kidwell, told me about it in my DMs, and I really just wanted to just attend. And then you're like, "Oh, talk," and I was like, "Okay, I guess I could do that." But I guess well, I made a fake TikTok reality show. I'm a private chef in the Hamptons.
Yes.
Where I just
I
call myself a content curator because I like to curate content to make it easily digestible and give people a theme and, guide them on what they should be watching. But I do most of my stuff on TikTok. And I have to tell you guys that TikTok is back to a place that it was in terms of viewership and suppression and all of that before the election. So around probably mid-October, it started to go south, and it got a little strange out there. It was, I wasn't getting a lot of traction, but now TikTok, the algorithm seems to be favoring us again. So I would suggest, if you're curious about TikTok, if you want to try TikTok, if you have been ignoring it since the ban, and then is it going to come back? Is it not? It's super weird. Try it again, and you might actually get traction now. I guess what I'm talking about today is the dark side. The dark side of being online, because I've gone viral many times. I've had Megyn Kelly talk about me for 10 minutes on her podcast. Bethany Frankel has gone after me. They wrote an article about me in the New York Post. All of the negative stuff has happened, but also Kara Swisher talked about me, and I was on NPR, and there was an article in, Washington Post, which I have mixed feelings about that now, but there's been a lot of coverage, and it's exciting, and virality is possible for everyone. Every time I go viral, it is something that is off the cuff and unexpected. And so you have to, if you're entering into this journey, you have to be prepared for that possibility. And I know for women, for white women, for Protestant white women, it's a very, very, very scary prospect to put yourself out there and risk, everything that comes along with it. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the comment section and the DMs and how to handle it emotionally. So I took a few notes. Okay, so my big thing today is going to be, please do not pursue perfection. It doesn't exist, and it is not favored online. You need to forego your ego, your vanity, and it's all for a greater cause. Okay, so you need to be a lot more off the cuff. You need to be a lot more relatable, a lot more authentic, and it's all for a good cause. So you're making yourself vulnerable, but it is for a greater cause, and you need to keep that in mind. In the comment section, one thing you have to learn is to be able to say you have a point. So most of the critiques I get that actually hit me are from Black women, because they have a point. And when they're saying something to you and you're seeing several comments about this one thing, you left out this demographic, or who are you speaking to here, or this doesn't really make sense, or this only applies to you, they have a point. And usually that's what I say to them. I say, you have a point. And that's all you have to say. And if that starts coming up by hundreds of Black women and they really have a point, you need to take that shit down. You need to listen to them, and you need to take it down. So that's your ego. Put your ego aside. The next thing is bots. Now, a lot of people who are influencers are going to tell you they're all bots. They're all bots. They're not. They are real humans that hate you. They are not bots. There are people commenting on your stuff that really do not want you to have a good day. They don't want you to have a good life, and they don't like you. And they've got a picture of their dog. They love horses, and they've got kids. So you can tell yourself they're all bots, and sometimes they are, but usually they're humans, and there's no need to engage with them. If they are getting at you, if you're thinking about them after you leave your phone, you need to block them. They do not deserve your thoughts past that. Unless they have a point. If they have the point, they deserve your thoughts. If you're questioning, is this a bot or not, you need to block them. Then you need to figure out those comments that are negative. Who are they hurting? Are they hurting your inner child? Are they hurting the middle school girl who didn't want to be called ugly? Is that who they're hurting? Are they hurting you because you have daddy issues? I have a dad who's a Trump supporter. So sometimes they say, I bet your dad doesn't love you. And it's questionable, you know? Who are they hurting? So you really need to think like, is this hurting adult, competent, mature woman who goes to therapy and is 40 years old? Or is this hurting my inner child? Is this injuring my middle school girl? Like, is this injuring me because of my dad? Like, and you got to separate those things. Oh, I was going to show you guys a comment. I saved a comment from today. And guys, there are a lot of women who are too scared just because of comments like this. So this guy said, I don't know, I'm just going to tell you. He said, okay, so I did one that went viral. It almost has 1 million views. And I'm talking about White Lotus and how the characters are so authentic and so real. And there's a character, Kate, where her friends find out she probably voted for Trump. And there's such an authentic, amazing conversation that happens. So I made a TikTok about that. And a guy said, his screen name is Hang In There 63. So he's an older fella. He said, you're just jealous because she looks like a woman and you look like a truck driver. She likes men and you don't. Donald is smart and you are not. Okay, so that hits on my inner child. It hits on my middle school girl. It hits on my daddy issues. But you know what? I used it as content. I took it and put it in my Instagram stories. And I said, somebody come get your dad. He's obsessed with me. And you make a joke of it because it is a joke, you know? So they're always going to hit at your appearance because they've got nothing else to say. They're always going to call you a lesbian. I have a husband, you know, I'm not a lesbian. I wish I was attracted to men, you know, it happens. Some of us aren't lucky enough to be lesbian. So that doesn't bother me. And then Donald's smarter than me. Obviously that sentence really helped because I realized the guy's a moron. So you've got to just put it in perspective, block them. If you're taking it off with you throughout the day, block them. It's not worth it. Tell them that they've made a point if they did. If something ends up on the wrong side of TikTok, and you'll realize that really quickly, take it down. And do private instead of delete, because if you push delete, it'll hurt you in the algorithms of the world. But if you just private it, just private it. If it ends up on the wrong side of TikTok, you don't need that. You want peace in your life. You're out there for goodness and joy. Get rid of that. Instagram comments are worse than TikTok. I think it's because they let you say more. So they seem to be a little bit meaner, just to warn you. Like I said, you may end up on the New York Post. You may end up in the Wall Street Journal. Megyn Kelly's podcast, Bethany Frankel, might pursue you. But their job is to troll the cycle. So it's a cycle. So even if it's hurting right now, nobody's going to know about it the next day. So just wait it out and you'll get on the other side. Not in real danger. Okay, comments are not going to put you in danger. You might get a scary DM, and that has happened to me. Not too bad. Most of my DMs are for people looking for sugar babies. I think they're fake, but I'll tell myself that 1 out of every 10 authentically wants to send me $5,000 a month. But if you get a scary DM that's like a death threat, you need to report it. The police are not going to care. I've heard so many horror stories from people. They're not going to care, but you need to report it. You need to report it, all right? But nothing's going to happen. But if you're afraid of comments, people being mean to you in comments, that's not real danger. So you need to remember that. They don't like you. That's not actually dangerous, okay? What else did I say? Okay, in the DMs, social relationship. I've had them. I've had a really disturbing one with Heather McMahon. I'm obsessed with her. I love her so much. I think she's so funny. But you cannot believe them. They're not real. Anybody who loves you will hate you for something you do randomly that you don't even predict or realize they're going to start hating you for. You could use the wrong detergent and they'll be like, she doesn't use clean detergent. I hate her now. So anyone who loves you, just know that the hate is right on the flip side. So don't internalize that love and don't internalize the hate either. And when someone comes up to me in real life, I'm like, well, what's your name? I'd like to establish an authentic relationship, you know? So anyway, so don't let the parasocial love or hate hurt you. Don't let it affect you. And that's always in the DMs. And don't let people trauma dump in your DMs. You can validate them a little, but you're not a therapist. They're taking up your time. You don't need them to trauma dump on you. Validate, start using just the heart emoji, and then hopefully they'll stop, because that's not the time or the place for that. And that's not your job, and they need to probably find somebody else for that input. Okay. The people who are going to come after you for posting about politics online are going to be people that you know in real life. It's going to be your best friend, your sister, your mom, because it's their anxiety that's stopping you. They're afraid. They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't be brave enough. It's not something that they enjoy. So they're pushing their anxiety off onto you. And so don't let that stop you, because they're scared. Don't let that stop you. You are brave, and this takes bravery. And the difficult thing about being a liberal influencer is that we are complicated, and we have empathy, and we see all sides of issues. So when people come into the comments, it makes it complicated for us. We think, oh, well, I'm not a farmer in Iowa. I don't really know what he's feeling. I don't, it's not like that for a lot of these conservative influencers. They're shock jocks. They're troll farms. They're not thinking about how it's emotionally hurting other people. So you have to channel into that just a little bit to be more effective and for the greater cause. And we're also not in a cult. I don't think I'm in a cult. So they are, some of them are, what it appears to be from their internet content. So the negativity doesn't affect them the same way it affects us. Okay, so in conclusion, forego your ego, your vanity, and pursuit of perfection. Learn to say you have a point. Don't let someone else's anxiety stop you. Learn which part of you a mean comment is hurting. Is it the new modern version of you, or is it a different version of you? Be brave and post. The more you do it, the less scary it is. So that's my biggest takeaway. Just do it, and it'll become less scary every time. It's just like immersion therapy with anxiety, CBT. Just keep doing it, and it'll be less and less and less scary. Okay, that's all.
Oh my God, Pamela, that exceeded my wildest expectations. I have pages of notes, pages. That was amazing. I think my favorite thing I wrote down is some of us aren't lucky enough to be lesbians. I agree. Use it as content. Like, you are not in real danger. Thank you so much. We're going to take some questions. I think we still have all of our speakers here. If people have questions for specific ones, I wanted to keep it to an hour. So if you have to go, bedtime, bath time, you time, do it. Thank you so much. We're going to do more of these. It's recorded. We're going to send it out to you. Oh, let's quick do our drawing. Pamela, can you pick a number between 1 and 73?
17.
Okay. Katina, can you tell us who's on line number 17?
Yes, 1 second.
Okay. In the meantime, we'll stick and take a couple questions. We kind of like looked through the chat and summarized some, so I'll answer them. If anybody else wants to answer, if anyone wants to ask a question live, we can do that. I'm here. I hear my children screaming their heads off. Hopefully that's not coming through. Do we have the name?
Yes, Kim Ward.
Kim, you won. So you can pick your favorite influencer, give us a name, make it hard for us, and we will try to get you a one-on-one strategy session with that person. Kim, are you still here? If not, we will email you. Great. So one of the top questions we got was about transitioning to making your account public. So I'll just kind of tell you what I did, and then if any of the speakers have thoughts on this. So mine is my name. It was, well, sort of my name. It was a joke that my husband's friends had, that before we were married, that if we got married, my name would be like Liza Minnella. I really go by Liz. So it's actually kind of helpful because I can see like when people actually know me, they're like, hey, Liza, like I know it's a bot. So it was just my personal account, and I turned it public, and to like tag Cory Booker, which is a story for another day. That was like actually my first foray into it being public. And then I kind of went viral when I made that reel about the assault weapons ban. I was at the time working for a probably Republican reality star on Bravo, also a story for a different day. And so I went to the digital, he has a company, it's real estate. I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. I went to our digital strategy person and I was like, so I just like went viral. Like, what do I do? Do I need to take out all the pictures of my kids? This was a question we got a lot in the chat. Do I need to take out pictures of my kids? Like, I'm worried about safety, blah, blah, blah. And the things they told me is you will get mean comments, exactly like Pamela. You are not in real danger. If that does happen, there's things that you can do. Taking pictures of your kids is up to you. I didn't take them off. I just kind of tried to like phase out how much I posted about them. I think that's a personal decision for everyone. But I don't think like people are scrolling back in my thing to find pictures of my kids. Like they are out there. And, but the biggest thing they told me, if you do have pictures of your kids or you're posting about your life, really try to protect your location. So don't post the outside of your house. Don't post your car. Don't post your kids' schools. That's like a really big one. Don't post your church or a park that you go to a lot. So just try to keep like, you can make content there, but try to keep like anything that would show exactly where you are, like calmer. And there's also ways to scrub your address off the internet, but it's kind of hard. So I think that those like taking those steps is good. I will also say that from like the scary thing, if anybody remembers on White Women Answer the Call, Ariel Foder, Miss Frazzled, Elon retweeted her like, her clip that she was when she was speaking on the call, and MAGA goes crazy when we are learning, especially when we are learning something about racial or social justice. They don't like learning, and it made them very, very angry. And she got 11 death threats in like 2 days. She called the FBI, they traced it back to one person, and they went to his house and told him to knock it off, and everything stopped. So throwing a casual, I'm reporting this to the FBI, or I'm reporting you for this, might be something you want to do if you get a bad troll. I've been doing this for 3 years. I've never
does that still have the same?
Oh yeah, I think now it has less of an impact because they're like the FBI is on our side. So maybe I have an uncle who owns a private security company, something like that. They don't know.
And I actually do know some really great people in like security. I am very good at tracking people down on the internet.
So
my friends
you
do
have a
call me the
community.
CIA.
We are here, and it's really, it does not happen as much as you think. I've never felt really scared by a DM. So I think just like do what you're comfortable with. But sometimes I look at what could happen in the next 10 years of this country, and that is way more scarier than the things that could happen to me by mildly putting myself out there on the internet.
The thing that I put into the comments is, if your goal is to create a wider circle, go public. That's great. If your goal is to be talking to the MAGA people in your family and to encourage them to think differently by subtly dropping things into your stories, stay private. Like, there is no need. So I would just encourage you to think about who you might actually be able to influence by keeping a private social media, and keep posting pictures of your family and then subtly dropping in some really political, like subtle content along with that. That might actually be way more impactful.
I think about the trad wives with all of this. If anybody has spent any time around me, you know that like I have a particular fixation with the trad wives that's probably like, I don't know, diagnosable. Annie, you tell me. Anyway, they put their kids all over the internet, and people say all sorts of wonderful and hateful and whatnot things about them. When I first started this, I got nervous about putting my kids out there, and then my kids actually got really offended that they weren't included. And I've just chilled out about it a little bit, and knock on wood, so far, everything is fine. Like, I get some hateful messages from time to time, but I also think there's a lot of value in just showing yourself living life while liberal. Like, you don't have to be like, look at the diverse table I am hosting for dinner tonight. You can just take a picture of it, and that will communicate more than any words you could say.
Awesome. I think we'll end with one more question that came from, I'm obsessed with North Carolina, so I'm gonna pick a North Carolina person. Claire from North Carolina. Once you have content ideas, how can you learn to create it in a way that doesn't take hours? That's a great question. Anyone want to take a stab? Yeah.
I will. I mean, I know a lot of people are huge Canva fans. I can tell within a mile if it was created on Canva. I am a huge fan of an app called GoDaddy Studio. It used to be called Over. Somehow everyone loves Canva, but GoDaddy Studio is so much better. It is a phone first account. So you actually have way more ability to create stuff on the go. I doing the work I do work mostly on my phone. And if you have a GoDaddy account, you probably have access to it for free. Most of you probably have bought a domain at some point on GoDaddy and have a GoDaddy account, and you don't realize you have access to this wonderful app for free. And I just think that you can do so much more stuff with it than Canva. But I'm thrilled to do a workshop of creating really good content and creating templates for yourself and just doing it.
I love that. I think people would love that. I need that. If anyone saw how many typos were in the.
And just another thing I want to make very clear, they've changed the size on Instagram, guys. Stop posting in square. No more squares. It's the 180 by 1350, and you also have to go in a little bit. I'll post in my story the dimensions that you need to be posting in.
The other thing is care less. Like,
Yes.
just record it and put that shit up. Life goes on.
Perfection is the enemy of good. I'm dealing with that with a client right now.
It also looks inauthentic if it's too good. Like, no one would ever believe if I put up like an incredibly well-produced thing. They'd be like, Kate obviously didn't make that.
Yeah. I love that. And then we'll just end. Sorry, I know that I said that was our last one. Someone just had a general, like, Pamela, maybe you can take this one. How do you decide what to make content? Is it just like what moved you that day? Like, how do you decide I'm going to make this White Lotus video?
Well, I started making content about cheese only. So it just evolves. It's whatever I feel, whatever moves me. Timely content is really, really good. If you can talk about something that's trending and give it a political lean, it's always, always good. Anything about an influencer always goes really well. Anything about something that you're an expert on, or something that you think you're an expert on, or anything that you can talk naturally about without having to read something. So you just kind of feel where the wind blows you, and the algorithm will tell you what people want to hear.
I love it. Let go and let the algo. Awesome. Thank you to all of our speakers so much. Thank you, Katina, for working the back end for us. We will send a follow-up email to everyone, even those that couldn't join. So if somebody told you they wanted to come but they couldn't make it, tomorrow we're going to send the recording. We're going to send you the 3 takeaways from each speaker. We're going to send you our podcast link, and we're going to send you any other important content. I feel like there was something else I was going to put in there. Oh, we're going to send you a feedback form. So you can tell us how you enjoyed this, what you want to see more of, what you want to see less of, and how we can make these the most impactful. They're going to be a series. So if you join this one, please join the next one. They're going to be different. We're going to have different speakers. We would love to have you all back at some point. I think it'd be fun to have people talking on different things. But please, if you can join at any time. Like, so if somebody missed this one, they can join the first one, even if they didn't see this one. So it's a series, but join at any time. Thank you so much. We had such great attendance, and everybody stuck with us after the hour. So really, really appreciate you all, and can't wait to see you for our next one. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you.